Welcome to the Nova Wealth Show. I am your host, Amy Novakovich.
And I'm Jim Novakovich. We're a husband and wife team and co-founders of Nova Wealth Management.
We also teach you how to build wealth, advise you how to keep it, and how not to get taken advantage of. So let's get started. Hey everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to Finance Friday. This is the show where we transform your relationship with your money. We give you the information that you need to grow and protect your wealth. I'm Amy Novakovich, certified financial planner and chartered retirement planning counselor. Now, you may be asking yourself, what in the heck is going on with this market the last couple of days and why? It's interest rates. Interest rates have been flying like crazy. So I called up my good friend, Eric Dungy. He is a real estate advisor with Compass, and he's going to tell us all about what's going on in the real estate market, because when interest rates fluctuate, that affects real estate. So we got to know what's going on. Eric, are you going to help us out today?
Yes, I'm definitely excited. Thanks for having me on, Amy, and definitely excited to talk to you guys about the real estate market and just the economy in general.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for being here. And Eric has these awesome reports that he sends out about, like, he's in Tampa, so he has reports about the Tampa economy. But I know we talked a little bit before this that we got on that you could actually get those reports for any area. But talking about the inventory levels and the demand and new home startups. I mean, seriously, like, tell us a little bit about what's going on just in Tampa specifically.
For sure. So yeah, Tampa, we're seeing it's definitely a seller's market. There's a very small amount of inventory. Just to kind of give you a quick overview. So basically,
because tell us what you mean by a seller's market, because you define that in your piece that you did.
Yeah. So basically, if there's 5.5 months of inventory, which means that starting today, if it took 5.5 months to sell all the homes, that would be a balanced market, not favoring buyers or sellers. Anything more than that would be favoring the buyers. Anything less than that would be the sellers. We're at 2.7 in Tampa, so that shows you that we're really, really favoring sellers right now.
Wow. So, like, what kind of things happen when it's a seller's market? So do they up prices? Things like, what kind of things happen?
So prices are going to be really high. You're going to see bidding wars. You're going to see properties getting listed selling for full list price, sometimes over asking price. It's just the sellers have all the leverage, so they can the buyers can't really make demands on if I want, price, lower prices. If I want, if the sellers have all the power, all the control, and it's really stressful, especially for young, first time buyers. They're trying to get into the market. They get outbid by people with cash, and because the sellers want to take whatever the best offer is.
I mean, I have a lot of not only first time home buyers, but people that have been renting for a while.
Yeah.
And then want to own, right?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about first, like, primary residence, and then we'll get into investment property, because there's a lot of investors out there that we know we're talking to. But let's talk first about the first time home buyers, the primary residence. What kind of trends are you seeing? Like, are prices really creeping up? Are values of homes increasing?
Yeah, I would say they are. Just thinking about in Tampa, the average, I should say median. I always get those two confused. Yeah. But the median price in Tampa is $10,000 higher than it was this time last year. So prices are increasing. They keep rising. If you look back year over year, they've been steadily rising the last, 7-8 years or so in Tampa. So they're rising. The money you have you have less buying power as a buyer right now. You're getting less, bang for your buck. So it's difficult right now.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So as far as investors, like investing in real estate, can you talk about commercial real estate too, or is it really most residential?
I'm more versed in the residential sector myself, but investing is investing, and money.
Sure.
I can give my best insight I can on commercial, but I do focus more on residential myself.
Okay, so residential investors that might want to buy like a rental property, or maybe they just want a second home that's kind of an investment.
Right.
Do you see any different trends there than in the primary residence? Like, are investors building? Not really. Mostly it's primary residents that build, right? Or is it investors that build?
The thing about building actually is the building costs are going up as well. I don't want to get too into politics, but there's certain, political policies that tariffs that are making it more expensive to build.
We
There's
can get
also
into
a shortage
politics
of,
if you want.
there's also a shortage of unskilled laborers, and you can kind of guess what policies lead to that. So there's less people that are able to work on these projects, whether you're building, remodeling, anything like that. The materials are costing more. So I saw a thing the other day that building costs have risen by like $9,000 on average for builders. So the same house you bought, 2 years ago is going to cost $9,000 just to build the same exact house this year.
Just from 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. And is that for like the whole state of Florida, or again, that's like the Tampa area right now?
That's nationwide.
That's nationwide?
Yeah. And
wow.
with different markets could even be higher, if you're looking at like something like New York, where there's more fees and more, everything just costs more general, but nationwide on average, $9,000 is what they're saying.
Yeah, because Compass is all over the U.S., right? Like you guys have
so that's
offices.
The awesome thing about our brokerage. I'm a master of Tampa, but we do kind of get snippets from all the other markets that we're in, whether it's New York, Los Angeles, Miami, Seattle, Chicago, etc. But
being in sports entertainment, being in sports, obviously.
Yeah,
yeah, a little bit of sports memorabilia behind you. But yeah, I mean, you probably have clients a lot out in California area, New York. I mean, how different are their markets from ours? And then the second question to that is, where would you invest right now? What area? Like, would you pick Florida, or would you say California is more undervalued, or what are you thinking?
It's interesting. So a lot of the California guys are actually looking to buy into Florida now, and because of taxes and other things like that, they're kind of getting rid of their California properties, which are really, really high price to begin with, and now they're having to pay higher taxes and come here where we obviously have no income tax and have some other benefits for Florida residents. So actually just had a baseball player that helped him get a place, and I kind of tell those guys, like, hey, you and your financial advisor got to figure out the tax side of it. I'm not a tax guy, but the real estate. But and then
I can help you out on that.
Exactly. So yeah, Florida is a great place to invest. Interesting. South Florida is a different market than where I'm at in Tampa. South Florida is more of a buyer's market. I think they probably overbuilt in South Florida a little bit. They built a lot of luxury, and there's just not enough people out there to be buying them up. Where Tampa, there's not enough inventory for all the buyers out there. So you still have to look, even though you're in Florida, you still have to kind of look at the different markets and figure out what makes sense for you.
For sure. Okay, for those of you just joining, we got a lot of people just hopping on. I'm here with Eric Dungy. He's a real estate expert, we're going to call him, real estate advisor with Compass. He's in the sports and entertainment division, but he also deals just a lot in general residential. We're talking about the real estate market, just interest rates rising and how that affects real estate too. I want to talk a little bit about that more too, but share this video out, guys, so we can get the word out there. I know a lot of people have questions about investing in real estate, and they certainly should get in touch with Eric too. And I'll have him give his contact information as well as we can listen in the contacts. But Eric, if you don't mind, I'm also going to put this on our podcast. So we have a podcast, The Nova Wealth Show, and it's on iTunes, and it'll also be on the Wooditch Network too. The video version of it. So check that out, guys, because we're going to definitely dive deep into the real estate market. So going back to, we're talking about investment properties, right? And you just mentioned like South Florida is a different market from Tampa. So why you just think that we're a buyer's market down here simply because we've overbuilt? Because there's people coming here. Like we're talking, it's September. Oh, it's October now. Well, last week it was September. And the traffic, I mean, anybody out there, give me a thumbs up. The traffic is already bad down here. Like snowbirds, you're not supposed to come back. We're supposed to have a few more months, man. And they are here, Eric, because they are retiring here and they are coming. So we have the people coming in, but you still think the inventory is just too much? Like, what's the deal?
I believe so, yeah. So I spoke with Ben Moss, who's the director of our sports entertainment division, and he's in Miami.
Yeah, he's in Miami. Yeah, Miami.
There's a lot of the athletes out of Miami, and from kind of his vantage point, they built up a lot of the luxury properties and kind of had neglected the kind of middle class and starter entry level properties. So there's a lot of luxury development and maybe more buyers that are maybe in that entry level market, or kind of that tier market. And not everybody needs a luxury, multi-million-dollar, condo or house or something like that. So I think when you're a developer, obviously it's sexy to build the big, sexy, beautiful, multi-million-dollar, development. And I think a lot of the developers are going for that, and they're maybe skipping out the kind of the everyday person.
that might affect our markets down the road, because with interest rates going up. So now I want to go back to interest rates because it's making the stock market go crazy. Like the pressure of interest rates. We were talking a little bit, before we started the whole live and everything. The 30-year interest rate is at 3.4%. So for a 30-year treasury investment, so you can happily lock up your money for 30 years at the good old rate of 3.4%. Or you can lock up your money for 10 years and get 3.23%. So interest rates are like, yield curve, we are in a crunch. So, and then I was talking to a business client of mine yesterday or the day before, and she's trying to redo a balloon loan that she has secured on a piece of real estate for her business. And the rate is already like, it's over 5%, like, because rates are going up so much. So, don't you think that's going to put pressure on demand? Like when interest rates go up, aren't we going to see pressure on demand because people won't be able to get loans at the great interest rate? Like my mortgage is like 3.75%.
Yeah, just in the last couple of years, I mean, interest rates have kind of gone up a lot. Like a lot of people that were getting them at 3.5 and 3.25, and now it's closer to 5. One thing that's interesting is still historically a 5% loan isn't that crazy.
Low. But see, that's what people forget.
Yeah, my parents probably bought their first house at like 18%. So I mean, it's still relatively low, but people are like looking like, if I can't find a house now, which in Tampa the inventory is super low, and I wait till the next time they 90 days whatever, and the rates jump up. Now I'm going to be paying that much more, and it's definitely a frustrating thing for buyers and investors as well.
Yeah, for sure, because investors need to make rents up above and beyond what they're paying in interest around their loan or in expenses. And so you have to weigh out this decision, guys. Like if you're thinking of investing in a property, you've got to have not only a realtor that obviously knows the competitive places to go, especially when you're talking investment, but you've got to know a lender. Like we have some lenders that we work with that can definitely be competitive on investment properties. But as far as the specific markets in Tampa, I mean, do you have like certain communities that you stick with, or are you just all over Tampa? Like, do you have certain areas?
I love South Tampa, so that's where I live. That's kind of a hot market.
Like closer to St. Pete, right?
Yeah, you go across the bridge about, depending on the traffic, it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's 40 minutes, but yeah, right across the bridge to St. Pete. So I love South Tampa. That's where I live now. Seminole Heights is an upcoming market. I'm actually working on some investing. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but me and my dad are actually working on a little project in Seminole Heights right now. So. Oh
yeah, like what? Like I know you don't let the cat out of the bag. This is going to be frontline news. Tony Dungy.
No, nothing crazy. We have a couple properties we're doing some due diligence on that. Just trying to make a little money on them.
Okay. So he invests in real estate. So like, a lot of wealthy people obviously do invest in real estate. It's an awesome investment, especially. So are you going to rent that out? Is that the plan? Or are you just going to, so you're not like buying and flipping it or anything like that?
We're thinking long-term, just because of all the growth that Tampa has had and will have. We're thinking, hey, we can buy these places now, rent them out to different tenants, and over the long term, we should see our properties appreciate. My father is kind of at a point where he's thinking about himself, but he's thinking about me and my siblings and our big picture with our family about, all right, how can I kind of create some more generational wealth for our family? And not just, this is money that he doesn't need to live with. This is money that's just going to sit in the bank, so he's just looking at different ways to kind of deploy it. And
right,
real estate can be a good way to spend some of that money.
Well, and obviously diversify. I mean, real estate, unlike the stock market, like the last 2 days in the market have been red, not super red. People have to remember that 200 points anymore is not like that big of a deal like it used to be. But real estate, you don't get a statement every day of like, oh, how much did my real estate go down today? You don't, it's different. It's a different asset. So it's awesome.
I appreciate that. I think my dad does have some stocks, but I know the stocks personally kind of drive me a little crazy because you get the app on your phone every day. It's up a little bit, it's down a little bit. Real estate.
That's why you delete the app.
I hear you.
Like reopen it from the cloud like once a month. Like especially if you're investing for the long term. Guys,
Yeah, if you're thinking long term and looking at short term results, like you're already kind of losing anyways.
Oh, totally different. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Guys, if you're just joining us, I'm here with Eric Dungy. He is a real estate advisor with Compass Realty, and we're just talking all things real estate. So if you've got any questions, please pop them into the comments for Eric. Actually, Mick commented, "What's up, Eric?"
How's it going, Mick, man? That's just got together last week, man.
But share this video out to get some traction on real estate investing, because I mean, I never make recommendations. I don't know people's certain situations, obviously. But I know a lot of people are always curious about real estate. Actually, I have a 401k client. Oh, my camera just adjusted there. I have a 401k client, and I go around and I meet with all the individual employees. And the biggest question I got when I met with probably like 40 of them, I met with between 30 to 40. The biggest question I got was real estate. Like, is it in a bubble? Are we in a bubble? Like, we're nowhere near like pre-2008 levels, right? As far as what you see, we're not in a bubble, right?
I think we're still going strong. The prices are similar to those same prices, but I think we're just in a safer environment. I mean, there's more restrictions on lending. I think people are just more conscious of things. So I think we're still safe, and especially in Tampa where there's just so much growth, I think we're still going to be going strong.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. And the other questions I want to talk to you about is flipping houses.
Everybody's been watching Chip and Joanna and Tarek and Christina.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned especially investing in real estate with your dad too. Like, does he ever get into that, or it's mostly like
we did a couple a few years back. In Tampa, it's tough right now to find flips. Foreclosures are down like 25%. Short sales are down like 40%. So to find those kind of steals is just more and more difficult. So we're kind of been on the sidelines on those.
I feel like maybe it was like 5 years ago, but the buyer always wanted like the steal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're just selling a regular house, it's like, well, I want, short sale prices, because that's what everybody was picking up with short sales or foreclosures or whatever. I mean, the prices like that are very few and far between. But I was talking, do you know anything about tax liens?
A little bit. I had one client that I helped them sell a house that they acquired via tax lien, and I don't know all the kind of nuances of it. They had another agent that didn't do a good job, and they hired me. So I don't know what happened beforehand really, but I just helped them sell it. And we got it. Well,
for those of you out there that aren't familiar, no. For those of you that aren't familiar, I mean, people that owe taxes, back taxes on their home, and it gets, usually foreclosed on, I believe. I don't know the whole process, but I was just talking to somebody today about it, and the tax liens apparently are getting anywhere from 10 to 18%, but they're really hard to find anymore, like in the real estate market. Like, people seem to think there's like this magical list, like that they can just call a realtor and be like, so can I get all the lists of all the, things that are up that are going to auction? Or can I get this list of, those lists don't exist, right?
Generally, no. One thing you can do is, I know for Hillsborough County where we live, there is the county auction website. So you can go on there and anybody can access those. But when I have people that kind of reach out to me, they're like, hey, I want to steal up an investment property. Like, I'm like, oh, me too.
Heck yeah. Right. Hey, Laura. Hey, guys. Those of you just joining, I'm here with Eric Dungy of Compass Real Estate. So we're talking all things real estate. So if you have any questions about investment properties, or in general, if you're buying a home or trying to sell a home, please ask us the questions. And actually, you can find me on novawealthmanagement.com and just go to contact us. Eric, can you real quick tell people how to get in touch with you?
Of course. So you can go online. I'm on Facebook at Eric Dungy Real Estate Advisor. My website is ericdungy.com, and Instagram is at Eric Dungy. So go on, connect with me if you have questions, you want to get in touch. We'd love to help, be a resource for you.
So your Instagram, do you post things like, here's my latest inventory, or, like, what do you post on Instagram?
I try not to be that kind of crazy, annoying Instagram person. So I post listings, sales, stuff like that. I also just post regular day stuff. I going to the beach, I'm having dinner with my family, whatever. I kind of keep it business and personal, and try not to be too extra in either one. Because I feel like, people follow me because they like me as a person. So I try to let them know what I'm doing without being overbearing on them.
Right. Okay, cool. So, cause I'm like we're really working on our Instagram. That's one thing I should probably mention. We do have an Instagram. I tried it really hard to do these like quick little 1-minute videos because you only get a minute on Instagram, right? So, so I mean, I'm trying to get better at Instagram, but I'm still like slightly older than you, and I'm working on getting better. But I know that's like your generation. That's like the thing. Insta is like the new thing, right? It's like the new Facebook.
Yeah, basically it is. It's Facebook. I grew up on Instagram. I've had it since I was in college. That's how I just, communicate with people and keep up with my friends. I just recently, probably in the last 2 years, kind of gave it more of a business emphasis. But
okay.
Yeah, like you said, it's kind of the new Facebook, where a lot of people my age are kind of getting away from Facebook. They feel like that's where their mom and dad are at or whatever. And they kind of go on Instagram to kind of be the more real version of themselves.
Yeah, right. Slightly. I don't know what that comment means, Jim. Slightly what? I'm slightly working on it. Slightly getting better. Jim's not here to testify, but man. So the last thing I want to talk about, and then we'll wrap this up. But in the real estate market in general, would you say that if somebody is looking to sell their property today, so we talked about primary residents, buyers, we talked about investors, buyers. Now I want to talk about if they're looking to sell their property today. How much does picking the right realtor really make a difference? Because like in Naples, Florida, around here, I think, I don't know where this statistic came from, so don't quote it, but I heard it from somebody, another professional, let's just say.
Okay.
I think down here, realtors are 8 to 1. Like there's 8 realtors for every 1 regular person in the population. Again, no idea if that's actually true, but just throwing it out there. The point is there's a lot. So when should people know, like they really need to contact you? Like you are the one that's going to sell their property over another realtor. Like what should we be looking for when we're selling our property in a realtor to know that we're picking the right one?
My biggest thing is transparency. So for whether it's me or any other realtor, ask for some references. Hey, can you have past clients that can speak to your work? Because obviously I'm going to speak highly of myself. I'm going to do my best, but talk to people my last people that I sold
references. That's an awesome idea.
What the experience was like, what was good about Eric, what was bad about, or anybody, what was good about your agent, what was bad about your agent, what should you expect going forward? So transparency is big. Markets are different too. So like Naples, I think is probably a lot more out of town buyers, where Tampa, even though we do have some snowbirds, it's still local buyers. So if I'm in Naples, does my agent have connections with Chicago and Detroit and New York and Boston, those kind of feeder cities, or are they more of a locally kind of based agent? So kind of understanding the market and then understanding what questions you need to ask for your agent to make sure that he or she is the right person for your property.
Okay. Yeah. Understanding the market is a big one, but down here, we've got so many snowbirds.
Yeah.
So they're not even like it. That is extra important because they're not even familiar with this market necessarily. Like they may go back up north for 6 months and really this is just like a part-time property for them. So that's huge. So transparency. So when looking for a realtor to sell your property, I'm just going to summarize this real quick. Eric mentioned transparency, ask for references, which is huge. Understanding the market, make sure they understand your market.
Yeah. And who's going to be the buyer of my house or my condo? And hopefully your realtor has that answer.
Oh, slightly older. Oh, come on. He's like slightly ? Like, yeah, I'm way older. Laura, I want to be a snowbird. Okay, so the last and probably most important question I'm going to ask you: who is going to the Super Bowl this year?
Ooh, good question. I really like watching Kansas City. They've got so much players. Pat Mahomes is obviously coming out of nowhere and been a big time player. I don't want to say the 2 best teams. I think Kansas City and LA, but they're the best teams right now. I feel like that's pretty easy.
You think that's going to be a trend that sticks, huh?
Yeah, but they're impressive right now, and you can never count out. As much as I hate to say it, you can never count out the Patriots. They're always going to find a way to at least be in the AFC Championship game at like a minimum.
Do you always have to talk football with your dad, or by the time he wants to talk to you, he doesn't want to talk about football?
We barely ever talk football.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're
He's
both
like talked out. He's over it, right?
Every once in a while, it's kind of nice. I'll ask him like, hey, like, what do you really think about such and such? And like, you can have like a real, no reporter, no interview. I mean, conversation. But for the most part, talks to me about real estate. We talk about my little brother who's a starting quarterback on his 7th grade team. We talk about his football.
Aww, that's awesome. He's a starting quarterback in 7th grade.
Yep, 7th grade.
Oh,
Had a touchdown last night. I went to his game. So we talk about that. We talk about basketball a lot. Me and my dad are both basketball.
Really? Nice.
My dad, I've actually says that if he wouldn't have gotten to football, he would have been a basketball coach.
Oh my gosh. That's a little tip that you didn't know.
See, that's why you got to tune in. You never know what you're going to learn.
I know, you never know what you're going to learn. All right, guys. Well, share this video out. Thanks so much, Eric, for being here. Any last thoughts that you want to leave with people about just, the overall real estate market, anything that we didn't touch on?
No, I think we kind of touched on a little bit of everything.
I did. I asked a lot of questions.
Definitely encourage people to reach out if they have any questions, if anything that maybe we didn't think about, or you have a question later on, reach out via Facebook, Instagram, right to the website.
Or just write in these comments on here, and then I can get them in touch with you, for sure. Obviously, if anybody wants to get in touch with Eric, and for whatever reason, you'd rather go through us. I don't know why, but we're happy to get you in touch with Eric if that's easier for you or more convenient. We're happy to get you in touch.
And I would be happy to be a resource to anybody to answer questions. There's never any pressure or obligation, but if you want to just talk, have a resource, I'm always there to help out. That's what we do. That's why we're real estate advisors.
Can they contact you through your website? Like, is there a contact us on your website, or should they message you?
I believe it says contact. And you can click on it, and I'll ask you your email, and you can email me directly and just say, hey, give me a call, give me an email. So,
okay.
Or I'll even give you my email. It's eric.dungy@compass.com. If you have a question, there's that way too.
There you go. Yeah, let's give that to people at compass.com.
Yep.
All right. Have an awesome weekend. Thanks again so much for your time. And again, anybody, you're so welcome. And have an awesome weekend, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.